morning, Cherries fans, and welcome to the latest in Cherry Picking. It's episode number 8. Believe it or not, 8 weeks. So, yes, it's been very, very busy. There we are. The face says it all of my co-host, Mr. Matthew Harrison. How you doing, mate?
All good. All good.
Good. And back again, another co-host now, Sam Harrison. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, all good. Looking forward to this weekend. Of course, last week's game was a bit of a difficult one, and I'm sure we'll come to that. We'll also come to the Norwich victory in the Carabao Cup, but let's give a shout out to our sponsors, Dental on the Bank. To find out what they could do for you, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk. So, where should we start? Should we start with Arsenal, and what did you guys make of it?
Go on then, Sam.
Well, yeah, it's obviously to be expected for a team like that. They've got world-class players. Jesus for the first goal, the way he ran through, set up the first goal. And obviously with Saliba for the third goal, world-class from a centre-back as well. It's to be expected. The thing was, though, it was a bit... I thought we could have played a bit better still. The first half was very poor. We did improve the second half. I liked it. And for Chris Cook and Christie coming on, I'd definitely look at maybe bringing them into the team a bit more. But yeah, overall, there's a couple of changes I would say we need for Liverpool on Saturday.
What do you reckon, Matt?
Yeah, similar to what Sam's just said. First half, we had no control of the ball whatsoever. The first half was, pretty much dictated by Arsenal. I don't mind, I say I don't mind, but if you're going to lose 3-0 to Arsenal, or Man City or whoever, as long as there's a bit of fight from us and, we're trying and, we're just not getting the rub of the green, then, I'm not as disappointed, but I was really disappointed because, there was second half, we started a bit brighter. If we'd have started the game like that, then maybe it might have been different. A little bit too little, too late with the second half. That goal their centre-back scored. No one's stopping that, is it? And that killed the game for Bournemouth. But I just... What I'm hoping for from seeing the Arsenal game to the Liverpool game this week is going out there and with a bit more fight. If you're going to lose, go down fighting. So, yeah, I was just disappointed with the effort. With what Sam said, maybe he's right there. Maybe the team selection might have not been correct. Maybe it was a game that was maybe more suited for, the likes of maybe a Christie to start. Or I thought Tavernier struggled quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it all credit to Arsenal. I think that's the best I've seen an Arsenal side play at Dean Court or at the Emirates. in the times I've watched, Bournemouth there and down here, and that's definitely the best performance from an Arsenal side I've seen. First half, when they were dictating the ball, it was a little bit like City used to, not used to, but do. So you can see maybe Arteta, Pep's rubbed off on Arteta there a bit, and he's trying to get Arsenal to play, that sort of high intensity, keeping the ball and knocking it around the field and not letting the other side get a touch. So overall disappointing. Results obviously disappointing, but I'm really disappointed with the lack of effort, I would say.
I think the first half, and to be fair, the Scott Parker actually set us out as I expected, with the exception of Dominic Solanke, who's still injured. Hopefully he's back for the Liverpool game. I'm sure he'll be raring, wanting to go.
No, latest is he's just about to start training again. So Liverpool would definitely be too early by the sounds of what's been said tonight.
Right, okay.
So
and that was in the press conference.
I read that on the website, so I'm assuming it's been in the conference, in Scott's conference tonight. I'm sure that's a question that would have been asked. So it looks like it's a little bit too early for Dom to be back. So it looks like his only real option is going to be obviously Kiefer Moore.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll watch that press conference in a bit because it's going to be quite interesting to see how we approach this game. Personally, I thought we set out as I expected, but then again, I'm not a manager, so hopefully Scott Parker isn't watching this show and thinking, well, he's got a point. What we'll do is we'll do what he says because I know absolutely jack shit, Scott. So don't listen to me. But, the first 10 minutes were really disappointing. Jesus, fantastic run, and he's a quality player. He's a world-class player. However, we made it easy for him. And, really what we should have done was players doubling up as soon as they could see that he had an intention, doubling up, make him make a pass. Hey, it might have still resulted in a goal, but at least make it a little bit harder. There was some half-assed tackles going in, towards him, and of course he set up Odegaard. Second goal was pretty much more of the same, really, which again was disappointing. The third goal, no keeper in the world, I don't think, would have saved that.
No.
And he looks a decent player, that Saliba. No doubt no wonder they had been singing the same song for about 30 minutes on Saturday. Has it exited your mind as yet, guys? That bloody Saliba song.
No. Keep seeing it on bloody what's that thing called? TikTok. Or on Facebook, these TikTok videos that appear. If you're flicking through them, you're bound to see that. And well,
if anybody's ever done a search for me on TikTok, you will see that I had earlier on in the channel's life experimented with TikTok, but to be honest, I don't anymore because the whole app is annoying, full of rubbish, and there's something that I was introduced to, which was really ASMR. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it seems to be very popular on TikTok.
No idea.
No.
I'm not
basically
TikToker, so I mean, when you say TikTok, all I know is videos. I ain't got a clue.
Yeah, to be honest, it's pointless videos. But yeah, I was introduced to this, and I thought, wow, that's quite interesting at first. But yeah, I think that's the only thing that I ever watched on there. So I gave up very quickly. ASMR basically is when somebody starts doing that.
Right.
Honestly, everybody's going to check it out now and think, what the hell is he on about? But yeah, I come off TikTok quite quickly after all that experience.
Like I guarantee to you, I'm not going to waste my time looking that up.
I would no, I wouldn't, to be honest, guys. Yes, yeah. Moving on from the rubbish. But of course, we then travel to Carrow Road to play Norwich. And, of course, got beat 6-0 last time round. Not particularly a very good performance, but of course, we got through this time round.
Yeah, I think a welcome distraction, really, after playing the top sides we've just played, and obviously with the top side we're about to play.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to see, obviously, the likes of Macondes get a decent run out. Saw quite a bit of Christie, didn't we? I think he played the whole 90 minutes, didn't he, Christie?
Yeah.
Stacey got a run out. Nice to see Neto obviously finally make his debut. And the kids as well, making up the rest of the side and the bench, and that. It was nice to see that Scott's dived in and given them a chance, because obviously we all know that staying in the league's the priority. So
Yeah.
to see that kind of lineup's not surprising. But to be fair, I mean, all credit to the guys that played. Jamal Lowe was meant to start. Pulled out with sickness during the warm up. So he found out that he was going to start, and he put in a very, very impressive display up front. Really, really worked hard for the whole 90 minutes. And obviously he put the cross in for the equaliser. So yeah, overall, even though it was a 2-2 draw in the 90 minutes, it was quite a pleasing performance overall.
Yeah, I completely agree. Just looking at the Norwich side as well, it was Norwich side that included, of course, Todd Cantwell.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a week. Jordan Hugill was playing, Adam Eder. So there was some real stars in that Norwich team. And
I mean, Pookie was involved as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're absolutely spot on. It was a strong Norwich side that our side come up against.
Yeah. And what did you make of it, Sam?
Well, yeah, obviously, like Matt said, it was good, especially to see Marcondes, Christie playing. And it was good to see a few of the young kiddies being put out. And obviously at the end, when the young kid was brought on and he scored the goal to put us into penalties, it was really good to see. Overall, Scott Parker made the right decision. I wouldn't have put a strong side out for that game. And like you said, Norwich did have a strong team out, considering. And I think in the end, even though it wasn't the best, we still pulled through and won on penalties.
Yeah, definitely. And when the draw was made for the next round, I was like, that's a bit of a disappointing draw. I was a bit gutted about it. I really wanted a Morecambe or a Stevenage or someone like that. What did you guys think of that draw? Because, of course, that means now Everton twice in the space of, I think it's 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. I mean, from our point of view, at least we haven't got to travel up to Liverpool on a midweek. So that's a positive for the boys. It's less travelling. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's always good to get a home draw. Home draw is always good. I can see your point. A Morecambe, a Newport County, even a Derby County, somebody like that. At home would have been probably, a game where you would think we should progress on to the following round. Drawing Everton, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Because I mean, if both sides are, I mean, when's this round? When do we play this round?
I believe it's going to be the 8th of November, and then I'll get the exact dates up in a second.
Yeah, that's why
but
it's
I
the
believe
8th and 7th of November, isn't it? Because it's a big break now in the competition, isn't there?
yes,
The
yeah, 8th of
Champions League and
November.
all that starts, and so we got a long way away. So it's going to be interesting.
Mhm.
The game will probably be dictated by the placement of the two sides. Obviously, if Everton are still struggling, then chances are they going to concentrate on the cup against Bournemouth, or are they going to be looking at the league like what we probably will still be doing at that time. Obviously, the league would be priority. Could also be interesting because we've still got another 2 months to go through. Managerial changes may happen. Lampard is been rumoured to be possibly some of the bookies' more favourite to get the chop. So obviously, if results don't improve over the next several games, then chances are that Everton may make the decision to change manager. So it could be a very different Everton side that we come up to by that point. And also, hopefully for us by then, we've got some points on the board, and we're sitting somewhere where we're quite happy with by that time.
Of course, this rumour still does still going round about Solanke potentially going to Everton. And when I spoke to Douglas Horn today from the Dugout Football Channel ahead of the Liverpool game, of course, Everton's main rivals, you know, his main view on Everton was that they need a striker and they need a striker now. If they don't get a striker, surely they've got to be one of the three that, do eventually go down. Because I just can't see, I just don't seem to feel where these goals are going to come from for Everton.
Yeah, go on, Sam. You go first.
Yeah, I agree with that. At this point, Everton aren't looking good, and the striking is very, very low for them. For Solanke now, I'm feeling that obviously he's injured, and I think I can't see him going now. But yeah, where they're going to find the striker and who's going to go there, I don't know. But yeah, hopefully they will stay down there this season because we need other teams down there as well to fight against.
What's interesting about that game as well is it is the last game that we play before the World Cup. So the league game. So the 12th of November. So we've got Everton in the Cup on the 8th of November. On the 12th of November, we've got them again at Dean Court in the Premier League. And then we don't play until the 26th of December. Up until that point, apart from Spurs, we do have a run where we should be able to pick up some points. Brentford at home, Leicester at home, Fulham away, Southampton at home, West Ham away. Of course, Spurs at home is probably the difficult one, and Leeds away before that Everton game. So you would think that we would pick up some points. We're not going to win all of them, but we should pick up some points in that period. Would you agree? And going into that World Cup break, I would be worried if we are below that line, but if we're above it and a little bit clear, that would give me a little bit more hope. I'm just thinking back to, of course, Project Restart and the situation we went through there.
Yeah. I can see why you're comparing that. For me, we've got to pick up points on that run. It's as simple as that. There's got to be a fair few wins in there, and there is some winnable games in there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Leicester is always kind of a winnable one. Tottenham's the strongest lineup there that we face, but I mean, the other games, your Saints, your Brentford, your Fulhams, those are really games that we've got to take 3 points from. I think if we are going to be above that line come the World Cup break. If we're in the relegation zone come that time, like you say, you got a month off. There'll be certain players going to the World Cup. The rest of the group will obviously stay together. But you got a month then of just training. It's gonna be like another mini pre-season, really. I'd imagine they'll probably get some games behind closed doors maybe sorted out just to keep the match fitness up.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you do from a managerial point of view at that stage? Because for a fact if you're in Everton's position and they're in the bottom three come that weekend, you could probably put your money on it that between then and the restart, Frank would be out and a new manager would be in. I mean, my biggest question is that what we're going to do? Will we, we don't have a sacking culture really at the club.
No.
So, I mean, what do we do in that position? We're in the bottom three. You got a month off, virtually a month off of playing games. What do you do? Do you stick with Parker? Do you bring someone else in? Because too many clubs leave decisions like that too late. Like, they get to January, end of January, February, they're in the bottom three and then they bring a new manager in and they hope to stay up, and it doesn't always work that way. So for me, it's a vital period of time. But my question to you two is what do you think? We're in the bottom three come World Cup break. What do you do?
Personally, I don't understand clubs sacking managers in February because the transfer window is just closed. They're stuck with what they've got. Those players, they've not put their own stamp on the team. Early January, I could understand. Late January, I can't understand that. And because of this break, I would say that, if we are, if we're in the bottom three, but we've performed well and not got the rub of the green, I would say, okay, stick with Parker. Maybe we need to make some changes in January. But at that point, we need to stick with Parker till the end of the season. If the performances are poor, a bit like that first half an hour against Arsenal, and to be honest, Arsenal are a different class. They are a different class. But I would question whether or not, if we were playing Preston on Saturday, would they have been 1-0 up after half an hour? I do think they possibly could have been in that if we'd played like that. But of course, you put yourself 2-0 down against Arsenal after 10 minutes, it's always going to be an uphill struggle. I think it's the manner of the defeats, really. If the manner of the defeats is poor, that we are getting beat and we're starting games very, very slowly, then that change needs to be made. Also, we need to know what the plan is. What are the board going to do? It's not a case of let's sack Parker and let's have a think about it for a month. They need a set in stone plan. What do you reckon, Sam?
Yeah, I agree. It depends totally on the manner of the performances. As you said, we've got a good fixture running up until the point where it breaks for the World Cup. So it's definitely important to get a few results there. If we're playing dismal against all of these teams up until that point in the bottom three, a few points behind the people above, then the board will have to have a look and see what the plan is. Because if there's a good manager out there that could take over at the time, then obviously we would need to try a different idea to try and keep us in the league. But if we were playing well and, like Craig said, in the bottom three, but we still keep it in there, then obviously I would definitely back Scott to the end of the season to try and keep us up.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're both saying. I mean, I'm fully behind Scott Parker. And like I said to the Liverpool podcast I was on the other day, I said to him that, hopefully Parker can go one better this time and keep us in the Premier League. But yeah, it will be interesting to see what the situation is when we get to that period of the season.
Yeah, most definitely. I think, if we play like we did against Villa, we'll be absolutely fine. I don't think we'll be in the bottom three. I don't think we'll be in the bottom three if we play like that. And even though no team can go through a whole season, playing perfectly, it just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Look at Man City; they got beat by Crystal Palace, still won the league. There is going to be those games where it does tail off, but it's how we put things right. That was Tyndall's main issue, was when things go wrong, how do you put it right? I think Scott Parker's done that to an extent. So, he just needs to do it again. Again, this is a free hit on Saturday. Would you agree? Even though they are in poor form, Liverpool, I can't believe I'm saying that. A draw against Fulham, a draw against Crystal Palace, albeit there was that Darwin Núñez sending off, which was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know really what he was trying to do, to be fair, honest there. Was he trying to headbutt his chin or something? I don't know if you guys saw that incident, but it was a very bizarre one. And against Man United, they were very, very poor. Although saying that, Man United couldn't get any worse than what they were against Brentford, really, could they?
No, I personally thought that game had draw written all over it, considering the start that both the sides made. I thought this has got draw written all over it, and how wrong I was. But I mean, for us Saturday, again, like you say, it's kind of free hit. I mean, going up there with the way they've been playing, they've got a point to prove, haven't they? And if little old Bournemouth go up there and cause an upset, then it's going to be all hell breaks loose, I think, on social media and in the press and that with Klopp.
Surely they can't sack him, though, can they?
No, never. They'd be mad to sack the guy. They'd be mad to sack the guy. I mean, look at the success they've had under him. They'd be mad. But you can just see it, can't you? If they don't get a good enough result, that there's going to be all this sort of negativity going around. I mean, it's funny because when I was on the Liverpool podcast the other day, which Craig, remind me, who was it?
It was Stephen Stubbs.
That's it, Stephen Stubbs. When I was on with him the other day, people were saying about their age in midfield. A lot of their fans are quite concerned about the midfield. That's kind of where they feel that they're losing the battles. But when you look at some of their games, there was one game where Van Dijk was having a mare of a game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think which
that
game
was
it
Man
was.
United.
Yeah. That's it, this week, yeah. He was having a mare. All teams go through this. I mean, they've got 2 points on the board and a defeat. Personally for me, they were the title winners this year. It's early days, isn't it? It's early days, and they've got to turn the season around. And Stephen and the other Liverpool fan that was on there, the other Liverpool fan, and a lot of people commenting were actually saying, for Bournemouth, this is the best time to come and play us because they can, we can hit them, especially if we go over the top of their back four. Sometimes they get caught out, and that's what they were saying the other night. They were saying, if you guys watch how we play, and you can get your big man in behind, staying on side, you got a good chance of getting in behind our back four. I mean, that was coming from a Liverpool fan, so that a lot of the fans are very unhappy at the minute. But but again, you can't really look at their result. They're a world-class side, regardless of what they've done in their previous games. You've got a very, very good manager, very well coached side, internationals in every position. So, we've got to go up there confident. We've had a draw up there before. Okay, we've never had a win up there, but we've had a draw before. We'd all be very happy travelling back with a point, because that would be a massive, massive point. And at the end of the season, those are the kind of points you look back on and think, yeah, that was a huge point.
Yeah, most definitely. And it would be a dream to win at Anfield, but to be honest, let's be realistic. A point would be an amazing achievement, and I'm sure. I think the way I look at it is the hard work starts against Wolves. That's the game where we need to hit the ground running, because we got Nottingham Forest after them. Then we've got Brighton, and that run there, is looking a little bit more, fruitful for us. I don't think we've got another game in between Forest and Brighton, have we?
No.
No. I was doubting myself there. So one thing we are going to do a little bit different this week is, of course, Scott Parker's press conference, and it'd be quite good to analyse this and break this up and just, see what you guys think and the whole approach that he gives. Shall we do this?
Let's go for it.
Yep.
Okay.
Rightio. So hopefully this works. Don't worry, I will get rid of the arrows, everybody who's watching. And yeah, let's start from the beginning. That'd be useful. Right.
For massive player we missed and the quality we...
Let's rewind.
Just how excited are you to get him back in the pitch soon? And what have you seen? How have you seen him change as a person with all he's been through?
Well, I'm extremely excited to see him back. We missed him for massive player we missed and the quality we missed last year with Brooksy and the situation which he was in. I think first and foremost, absolutely delighted to have him back in terms of general health and in getting over where he is. He's progressed very, very well. It has been slow, of course, and we've had to tread really carefully, but probably over the last couple of weeks, we've pushed on that work and he's come through that work very, very well. So, look, we're getting closer to the point where hopefully he can be in a position to come and help us and join the team, really. So, and like I said, a player of Brooksy's quality, Premier League experience, and the quality he will bring will only help us as well. So, it's been a long road for him, and it's been in terms of his general demeanour, has been, he's missed football first and foremost. Obviously, at the start of it, football was probably irrelevant, and it was more the fact of life in that sense, and getting through the cancer which he had, really, and then now I see someone who can't wait to get back out there. He's constantly on me, when can I train fully, but we're having to tread a bit carefully.
Just a quick one, guys, on that. Of course, David Brooks is, of course, coming back and is wanting to get back into the side. That is great news, isn't it?
I think, it's definitely brilliant news. He's definitely a great person to have back in training. It's good that Parker's obviously not pushing it too much, taking his time, especially after what he's gone through. Hopefully in a few weeks' time, he can start appearing on the bench and making an impact from there.
What do you think, Matt? It's going to be like a new signing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before on one of these shows, having Brooksy back will be, like a new signing and be a breath of fresh air. It'd be another good option for Scott to have. Obviously, they've got to take their time with the guy, which is natural. But as soon as he's back in and involved, he's going to be hungry. He's missed a whole season of football, so he's going to be hungry to. And plus, it's the World Cup year,
Yes.
What game time he's going to have is going to be absolutely valuable to him, because I'm sure Wales would like to take a fit David Brooks to the World Cup with him. And we definitely want to fit David Brooks back in the side to give us another option.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think, I think he will be so determined to get back in the side. And I think, of course, his muscle tissue would have worn down a little bit because of, the chemotherapy and treatments that he's had. But, it's good. He's got all clear. It's just a case of building it up. And a lot of people will say for him not to rush it, but you can imagine he's probably chomping at the bit. Look, I've got over this now. I want to get in that Wales side. And I'm sure that's where his mindset is. And he's good enough to do that, let's be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. By the way, guys, can you hear the press conference okay?
A little bit of feedback.
A little bit of feedback. Okay, no problem. I tell you what I'll do is I'm going to mute myself because I think that might be what's happening. So let's continue.
When he does come back, it'll be like a new signing for you, obviously. On which note, I know you're not going to give me any names, but how many bodies do you need through the door? And Sariki Dembele, is he on his way out?
We need bodies through the door for sure. We need help in that, and to evolve as a team and as a football club. Certainly, that is the case. Again, now we sit in this position. Obviously, days are going by, and that it's been pretty tricky for many reasons, for many circumstances. So I'm hoping, and we're hoping, everyone's trying to bring players in. But like I said, there's many obstacles we're facing at this present moment in time. So hopefully we can do that regarding players. And Sariki, you mentioned that there may be opportunity that players do leave. Certain players will from last year who maybe didn't get a lot of minute time and want to play football. Then there's probably there's a few in that bracket that, if they want to go and play football this year, then certainly we'll be open to giving that opportunity, really, because that may be limited here. So that's where that one is, really.
Turning our attention to the game,
So, Shriki Dembele, of course, looks like he's going to Besiktas in Turkey. What do you guys make of that move? Because I thought a lot of him last season. I thought he's a brilliant player. Lots of promise. He's only a youngster as well. What do you guys make of it?
Personally, myself, I'm a bit shocked by it all. Obviously, we brought him in. He featured last season. I think he's definitely a great impact player, especially from the bench. If you're 1-0 down or drawing, 20 minutes left, he brings on a lot of speed, and he brings a lot to the game. So I'm a bit shocked and gutted that we are letting him go. But if we are letting him go, we do need to bring in someone else that can fill the place.
Yeah, definitely. What do you make of it, Matt? Do you think that, we need much more in the transfer market? And what do you think of Dembele? Will we miss him? Or is it a case now Brooks is coming back, it's being given a contract extension, that we don't necessarily need him?
I don't know whether it's a case of that we don't necessarily need him. I think it's more, it might be about, like he said just then, about, minutes last season. He didn't have a lot of minutes. The minutes he did have, I thought he was impressive. But, because of his age and maybe his development, a little bit like with what, I compare it to what we did with Ryan Fraser that year. He'd had a season with 2 seasons with us in the Championship, and Eddie saw something in the game where in his game where he thought that he'd benefit from a season out on loan, and then come back and did what he did for us. So I reckon it's probably more along that lines with minutes and probably player development. It's definitely one for the future. So if it means that he's not going to be sat on the bench here all season, if there's other things in the pipeline and it gets him game time, then I'm all for it. Because hopefully he'll come back an improved player and be an asset for us next season. In terms of the transfer window, like we've said all along, we do, and as Scott has said there, we definitely do need some names across the door at Dean Court and bedding into the squad as sort of ASAP, really.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we need somebody up front. Of course, we are talking about Ben Brereton Diaz, actually Maitland-Niles as well from Arsenal. So there's options. But one thing that I was discussing, of course, with Douglas Horn earlier on was Nat Phillips. His view was the season he played regularly because of the amount of injuries that Liverpool had got. He was quite good. Against Crystal Palace, though, he was particularly poor. Didn't have a very good pre-season as well. Didn't look great. I did ask him the question, do you think he's a good Championship player but not a Premier League player? He feels that he could play in the Premier League. Do you think we should still go in for Nat Phillips just as a bit of backup, or do you think that ship sailed?
I would say I think the ship's probably sailed now, isn't it? And I think Klopp's even said himself, hasn't he, that he doesn't look at selling him now due to the he's got a couple of injuries, isn't he? So I think that ship's sailed now. I think if you're Nat Phillips and you want to come to Bournemouth, you're now competing with Kelly, Meps, and obviously Marcus Sensei now. So there's quite a bit of competition there, isn't there? So I wouldn't say that we don't need another centre back. Another centre back to help boost to the squad might be a good inclusion, but I think that ship's gone now.
No, fair enough. Shall we have a listen to what Scott Parker's got to say about the Liverpool game? Of course, that is coming up on Saturday. Probably heard the first part of the question. Second, go.
Doesn't get any easier. This Premier League, Manchester City, Arsenal, now a trip to Anfield. You'll have done your video analysis this week. Is this the most vulnerable Liverpool have perhaps looked for a while?
Look, I'm not sure about that. The results, obviously, in terms of what Liverpool have aspired to and where they are currently in terms of results, and I'm sure they'll be the first to know it's not gone where they wanted it to go. What I do know is you're playing against a world-class team, a well-coached team, an exceptional manager, and a team that are probably going to look for a reaction as well. So this is one of the hardest places to go for Anfield. Even probably more so, you could look at it in terms of their current situation. It could be very difficult, but as always, it's one for us. It's a challenge for us to go and face. It's one where we need to try and get something out of this game. We need to go there with a real air about us, and all the work we've done this week in trying to put that into practice, really come off a positive result in midweek. But of course, I'll be lying to sit here, a team just newly promoted going to Anfield. The challenges what we faced over the last couple, and even Aston Villa I put into that bracket, have been big ones. But so this is another one we face.
Just one final question from me. You obviously have recent experience, as recently as 18 months ago, of taking a side to Anfield and winning there. And I know it wasn't a packed, raucous Anfield, which maybe makes it different. But what do you remember about that day? What was your messaging to the players that day that, okay, this is Anfield, but just don't play the red shirts, just play
I think it was exactly that. I think it's exactly that. It's a place that can be very intimidating. We played behind closed doors, so that was probably reduced somewhat. But again, playing against a high quality team. And along the way, you've got to show quality. You've got to try and assert yourself and cause them problems in the areas you can cause them problems. You've got to ride your luck at times. You've got to be defensively very, very good. And, the 11 out there are going to have to put in big performances. And I don't just speak for me as a manager of Bournemouth, a team that's just come up from the league. I probably speak for the majority of managers what go there, much bigger teams than us, and they'll probably all say the same thing. You're going to an extremely tough place to go, a team that very rarely lose and have been at the top of this division and around in Europe for some time now. So yeah, we're going to have to get everything right. And like I said, we're going to have to be right on it in that sense to try and get something out of the game.
Well, so Scott Parker's obviously been working on this game all week. I just wonder how you approach a game like this against a team that finished second, many people's favourites for the title. Of course, runners-up in the Champions League last season when you've just been promoted. What do we defend against them? Do we attack them? Because personally, let's look at Arsenal first, because that was probably the lesser of the two performances, although it was only 3-0. In that first half an hour, I don't think well, to be honest, during the whole game, how many shots on target did we really have?
We had one, I believe, one shot on target the whole game.
Was that Kiefer Moore, wasn't it? It was Kiefer Moore's header.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, the emphasis there was on a little bit of defence, but do we have a go at them? Have we got the players to have a go at them at this moment in time with Solanke out now? How would you approach it, Matt?
How do you approach going to Liverpool? I mean, you know, I'd personally just like to see us get up there and have a crack at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of the way they've been playing lately, I think it's worth the go that we try and play football against them rather than parking the bus. Stubbs asked a question about parking the bus this week and said to me, can Bournemouth go out to Anfield and park the bus? To which I said, any side like Bournemouth or most sides in the Premier League that go to Liverpool, can park the bus, but there's only a certain amount of pressure that they'll be able to absorb before one of those front three break through and create a chance for someone to score themselves. So yeah, and you can see obviously with what Scott's saying there, obviously, even with the form that they're in and they have been in, you can't write them off. And I think Saturday, if we're away from home, let's just go for it. Let's try and play some football against them and see what happens. Got to be a better performance so than that first sort of half hour against Arsenal. We've got to put a better performance in. If we put a better performance in and we're having a real go at the game and we still come away with a result that we don't want, well, at least we've gone up there, had our heads high and had a real crack at it.
I think, I completely agree. I think we've got to have a go. I would go with a very attacking mindset. Believe it or not, the Liverpool fan earlier on, Douglas, did say, our midfield at the moment is probably better than Liverpool's midfield.
Yeah, see, that's another one that's brought out the midfield this week. So there's got to be something in it, isn't there? That's that's two different shows that both of us have been on, and both shows have mentioned the midfield. So it does. I mean, it does say something, doesn't it? If you've got two totally different shows saying similar points, there's got to be some truth in it.
I was asked as well, would I take Milner and Henderson, and would they get into the side at Bournemouth? And personally, I think one of them would do. And yeah, if they were available, you would take them both. You wouldn't pay much money for them, but because of their age. But I think I would only play one though, at a time, because personally, I think the experience is good, but they're both very slow players. So if both of them play at the same time, which I can't imagine happening, um, you know, that could play right into our hands, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of a midfield battle,
Mhm.
potentially. They used to use Milner as a fullback sometimes as well, and it'd be handy if he was playing fullback on Saturday, because I think the likes of Smithy and Zamora would probably destroy him for pace.
Yeah.
I mean, fantastic servant to the game though, James Milner. I mean, absolute credit to himself for being. I think he's the same age as me, and it's probably 1,000 times fitter than I am, and he's really looked after himself and had a good career. Henderson, got to say, I've never been a massive fan. I think he's during the Euros and that when he played for England, I thought he put in a good shift. I mean, if I had to sign one of those two, I'd go with the old boy Milner myself. But yeah, I mean, if you got Cookie, Lerma, and Billin or Pearson or whatever combination he goes with, and those two are in the midfield, then hopefully we'll have a good chance of winning the battles in the midfield. But then again, like you've also said, experience. They're two very, very experienced players, and experience is something you can't buy. So, yeah, it will be an interesting one.
James Milner, by the way, is 36 years old.
Yeah, same age as me.
Yep, same age as me. Only I'm sure, before I come on this show today, I went to Burger King. I'm sure I'm sure James Milner isn't that stupid. Because yeah, to be honest, I don't eat it very often, but yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not agreeing with me. So yeah, James Milner, if you are watching and you do end up in Burger King, get yourself out of Burger King, get yourself back on the pitch. Right, cool. So yeah, of course, we've watched a bit there of the press conference. We won't show you it all, but it can all be found on AFCB TV or through the official website. So hopefully you thought our views were interesting and different to what might also be out there. What did you make of that, Matt? Positive now, or it's like thinking, okay, we need more bodies through the door before we can
Yeah,
start winning these sort.
little bit concerned with his how he answers the question. I know all managers, play things close to their chest, and he ain't going to start saying, "Oh, we're looking at this player, we're looking at that player, we're looking at this player." But part of me still just doesn't feel that maybe the backing's there. Maybe he's wanting. Maybe obviously we know how it works. He targets what players he thinks. People scout him. The likes of Richard Hughes and Simon Francis. They do their bit. The board either say yes or no to the players. So obviously it's a long old process, and I think maybe some of his suggestions are probably being rejected more than being actually sanctioned. It's kind of the outside, and just with his body language there and the way he answers the question doesn't fill me with a lot of hope. Or it's just been a disastrous window, and everyone they've gone for hasn't come off. But I don't see that. I think it's more him being backed. In terms of the game, I mean, he's answered the question in the questions in any way that I would expect him to answer them. Really, when you're facing a side like Liverpool.
What do you reckon, Sam?
Yeah, with regards to signings before the end of the transfer window, yeah, I don't think he's got the back in there. I think there's always been plenty of players that would love to come down and play for Bournemouth, the managers we have, the place we have, the way we play. We have a lot of attractions come down here. I just don't think Scott Parker's getting the backing. So yeah, I am a little concerned with that. But with regards to playing on Saturday, he answered it exactly how anyone else would. We just need to go there with just forget who we're playing and just play 90 minutes. For myself personally, I would definitely say let's go out and attack the first 15 minutes, see what we can do. I wouldn't sit back. Otherwise, once you let in one goal there, you can let in a few.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think it is a little bit concerning with regards to transfer targets, but I wonder how much of this has been affected by the training ground being built and how much money is being channeled into that. The other thought is something going on in the background about a stadium or, doing up Dean Court. Of course, we had the interview with Eddie Mitchell, and where he was discussing, that Dean Court could be increased to 22,000. And I'd rather that than build one of these shiny new stadiums. Would you agree?
I definitely agree myself. I wouldn't go out there and build a new stadium, spend millions of pounds if we can spend a couple of million rather than 10 million to fill in the stadium and add a few thousand more. I think that'd be the best thing at this point.
What do you reckon, Matt? Stay at Dean Court or build a shiny new one?
I mean, it's the spiritual home, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
For fans that have gone there, for a long time. And, I mean, personally, myself, I've been going there since I was sort of 4 or 5 years old. Same with Sam. We started taking him when he was about 4 years old. So, for us that have gone there for a long time and that is the club's spiritual home. So I'd much rather see, if there's a potential chance of redeveloping what they can, or at least stay on the site of Kings Park. For me, would be the best option. I mean, when you talk about stadiums being moved and stuff, sometimes it can kill a club, really. The last thing we'd want is to be like right on the very outskirts of the suburbs somewhere. For us, I think we've got all the train stations within the mile radius, and we've got car parking facilities there, and we've got pubs and stuff around. So I mean, for the match day experience, I think the ground's in the most perfect place, in a beautiful setting, and I think that's where it should stay.
Yeah, completely agree. And this is what I was saying to Eddie Mitchell. I said, I'd rather us stay at Dean Court, where we are. My head tells me that we'll probably get moved to a new stadium. But I would hope that it would be considered that, look, this can be done. And 22,000 should be enough, shouldn't it, really?
Yeah, 22,000.
Yeah, I would say 22. I mean, like, you can see, the main objective of the board at the moment and the club is the training ground facility, which for me, I think is vitally important for the club's long-term future. A lot of people disagree. A lot of people think, why are you building a training ground when we should develop the stadium, get bums on seats, which I totally agree with. The more bums you got on seats, the better. But I think for the long-term future of the club, by building this training facility and having the whole club base there, in terms of all the ages and development squads, this and that and the other, I think that is vitally important for attracting young players, you youngsters that you're trying to sign up at all the different age ranges. And it's also important for signing players to the first team when you've got a world-class facility, which is what, will be developed there. When you see a world-class facility in front of you, that's always another pulling point to for signings, like I say, throughout the whole club. So at the moment, that's clearly the club's focus, and rather than I mean, there's also situation with the owners of the free stands as well. So I mean, with what the club's doing at the minute, I think rather than redeveloping the ground, I think the infrastructure of the club's obviously being worked on, and I think that is I think that's the most important thing at the minute. Obviously, a stadium is part of the infrastructure, but with this training ground, once it is done, not too sure when it is meant to be completed, but when it is done, will be a fantastic asset to attract many different types of player.
And I think that's the key thing for me, because with the training ground, it will be able to attract the best players out there. It's been long known that Southampton down the road have got an outstanding academy, but this gives us an opportunity to get into that sort of space where we can build something which will bring players in. And it's not just the beach and the area and everything like that. It is that they will develop here and become the better players and the best players to get into that first team. And eventually, once you bring a couple of those through, and if we do get a number of stars that we bring through, and those stars do eventually get sold on, then that is profit to the club, and the club funds itself. So there is, that's how a lot of clubs have survived in the past, and that's how we used to survive in the past. Like Eddie Mitchell said, was bring in players who were a prospect, get them better, and then sell a bomb. We'll just be able to do this on a bigger scale in a better league this time around.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at, of course, fantasy football as well, which, of course, has been going on. Go on, Matt. Tell me where I am in the league.
To be fair, I haven't actually looked.
You haven't looked down
where
that
you
far.
No. I think you're 30th or 31st, 30th.
Oh, I've moved down one, have I? Oh,
Have
gosh.
You need to maybe open the app, Craig, and have a look. Maybe have a look at changing your team a little bit. I would say I'd do it with you Saturday when we're in the car on the way to Liverpool. Would it be too late then? It's game day, so we can't even do it then. But
well, exactly, mate. Exactly.
But yeah, Sam did well. Sam moved up quite a lot of places, and so did Mr. Rawlins. Mr. Rawlins had a good week. He shot up there. I think he's I think Chris is maybe 1 or 2 places above me. I'm 11th. Sam was near the bottom. He shot up mid-table. So yeah,
Should we
quite
do something fancy? Should we do something fancy again?
If you want to do something fancy, yeah.
Here we go. Look at this.
Oh, here we go.
Go on, Matt. You talk through it.
Right, okay. Let's scroll to the bottom because that's the fun part.
Oh,
right.
shit.
There
I'm in the relegation zone.
There we go. So, yeah, the ramps, and there's Wiggy again. Wiggy's still down there, and yourself. Yeah, 107, 109, and 133 points between you all. That's not a great start, is it?
No, it's shocking, really.
But yeah, if we move up a little bit, we've got the likes of some good name there, isn't there? Fantastic 442. But yeah, these are all the mid ones here. I think I think Sam is a little bit further up. Where are you, Sam? Oh, there's Steve
There we go.
There's Sam, yeah, BMTIG or whatever it says, elite there, 172 points, up 9 places. So I think out of us 4, I think Sam and Chris are the biggest movers. Chris shot right up.
I haven't moved 1 place, Matt.
Well, the only place you tend to move, Craig's down. And you're going to get to a point soon where there's just going to be no arrow there every week. You're just going to sit at the bottom. Yeah, so Yeah, there's my father-in-law, Fletcher United. He's normally quite good at this stuff, but he's not doing so well at the minute. Mr. Rawlins is one place beneath me. But he was struggling last week, so he's shot up to he's in the top 20 now anyway. But yeah, at the very top, we've got my brother-in-law. He's leading the way.
What a name that is.
Yeah, can you say it?
Kadira Pindrop.
Kadira Pindrop. Yeah. Cracking name, isn't it? But
It is, yes. Is this meant to be a tongue twister? Is this or
what? Kadira Pindrop.
Yeah.
Well, it's a player's name, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Kadira.
Kadira. Sammy Kadira.
Could hear a pin drop. Kadira a pin drop.
Now,
Yeah.
do you know what? Now we've said, is it a tongue twister? I can't fucking say it now. Kadira pin drop.
Yeah,
Right,
Kadira pin drop. So so Josh, very knowledgeable at his football, knows his football, and normally these leagues he enters, Josh normally wins. I've got to say, or he's in the top 2. So I'm not surprised he's top.
He's got 120. No, he's got 117 points more than me after 3 games.
Yeah, that says something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, says that you're shit. Second place is Mr. James Hornby. Haaland Smarland, which is an interesting one.
It is an interesting one. You know, even though he's very good at fantasy football, he can't spell Haaland.
But this next place, young Connor Stokes, he's been waiting for his shout out. He's been saying to me every week, when am I getting my shout out? Well, Connor, this is your moment of glory. Connor Stokes with his Dongs Select 11. There's a reason. There's a reason why. But yeah, no, he's shot up high this week. He's done well, so he's in 3rd place. And then we've got a Mary Sellers, who I don't think is a Mary Seller. I think it's somebody else that's using someone else's name or something. I think this might have something to do with Mr. Rawlins. But J Hotshot's their 4th.
Are we all saying that Mr. Rawlins has made 2 teams up and made a fake
No.
name?
I think it's a friend of his who didn't have a Sky Bet account who's used his mum's.
Oh right, okay, fair enough.
But we're just going to give credit to Mary. Well done, Mary. She's
well
4th.
done, Mary. You know, well done, Chris's mate's mum. There you go.
Chris's mate's mum. And then we've got who's the daddy? Paul Cox. He's been in the top 5 for pretty much most of the season, I think. So, but yeah, that's our top 5.
There we go.
And we'll see where we're at next week.
There you go. Well, you know, hopefully I can move up a couple of places. I'll tell you what, in my work diary, I'm going to schedule some time to actually make some changes to this. See if I can get, you watch me fly now with some time set in my work diary.
Make it a bit more of a competition. I mean, you want to take out the Manchester United tea lady playing right back and stick someone in that actually is playing every week.
You watch. I'll be below Johnny and Sam Clinton as well. After my changes, be 32nd out of 32nd. What do I win for that?
What, coming 32nd?
Yes.
We got some dodgy wooden spoon prize, haven't we? I'll tell you what, just go to the kitchen, get yourself a wooden spoon, wrap a red and black ribbon around it and just have it now.
Yeah.
The upper cherries in all departments, wooden spoon for the Fantasy Football League. So no expense spared.
That's happening as well. So yes, that is another prize you can win, but you probably don't want to, because it will be a second-hand wooden spoon. So yeah, one of the finest from the kitchen has we're going to bin anyway. And of course we have got our predictions for our prediction league, haven't we?
Yeah.
What games?
Obviously, Mr. Rawlins still poorly. So I think if we start again afresh from tonight, and when Mr. Rawlins does come back, he will definitely reveal who that player was, because I still haven't got a clue.
I still haven't, to be
But
honest.
we've got a new player tonight as well for people to guess as well.
Right. So what games have we got then? I believe, Sam, you've picked them out.
Yeah, so I've picked 3 Premier League games. So the 3 Premier League games this weekend I've picked out are Arsenal versus Fulham, Forest versus Tottenham, and Brentford versus Everton.
Right.
Yeah, so with the Championship, I went for Watford versus QPR. League One, I picked out Port Vale versus Portsmouth. League Two, Salford and Stevenage. And I thought a very good fixture abroad this weekend is Juventus versus Roma.
Good one.
That's an interesting one, actually. It's an
Right.
interesting one. It's not Dog and Duck Athletic versus Branksome Park or something. So it could be. You can pick those sort of games if you really want to, but let's be honest, it's going to be a difficulty to find the score.
Yeah, that's it.
So who's going first then? Are you going to make a note of what we say, Sam, or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
I'll take a note on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go first then.
Yeah. So my predictions are then. So for Arsenal Fulham, I've gone for 3-1 Arsenal. For Forest Tottenham, I've gone for a 3-0 Tottenham win. Brentford Everton, I've gone for Everton to beat them this weekend 2-1, because I think Everton, this will be a type of game that they pick up the 3 points. For Watford QPR, I think that will be a 1-1 draw. With Port Vale and Portsmouth have started well again, but I think Port Vale will do them 2-1 this weekend. For Salford Stevenage, they're both up there at the moment at the beginning of the season, so I reckon that could be a high-scoring 2-2 draw. And with Juventus and Roma, I think Roma will pick that at the end. Roma 2-1.
Okay.
Do you want to go next, Matt, or shall I go next?
I'll go if you want.
Go on then, mate.
So Arsenal Fulham. I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal. What was the next one? Tottenham. Forest. I'm going to go with Forest. Tottenham to win 2-0. And
Brentford Everton.
I'm going to go with Brentford to win 2-1.
Okay, then you got Watford QPR.
I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw.
Port Vale Portsmouth.
Portsmouth to win 2-1.
Salford versus Stevenage.
Salford to win 3-2.
And then finally Juventus Roma.
I'm going to go with a Juventus win 2-1. Sam, are you writing on your laptop?
I'm writing it down, yeah.
Yeah, look, because all I'm hearing is like feedback. Don't write on your laptop.
See, you've got it all well planned, haven't you, Sam?
That's it.
You don't do things in halves. Me, I would have had to go back and watch the old bloody video again, which, yeah. Right, let's start. So, Arsenal, Fulham, I think probably a 3-0 win for Arsenal.
Okay.
Forest, Tottenham, I think it'd be 2-1 Tottenham. I think it'd be a bit tighter than, what a lot of people will probably say, but 2-1 Tottenham. Brentford, Everton. 2-1 Brentford. Watford QPR. That's another really difficult one. I reckon 1-1 that. Port Vale, Portsmouth. I think 2-0 Portsmouth. Newly promoted side as well, Port Vale, of course. And Salford Stevenage. Stevenage are up there, actually. They're really up there in League Two. See? You know, I'm full of useless knowledge up there. But I'm going to go with 2-1 Salford. And Juventus Roma, I think 2-0 Juventus. So that is my predictions. There we go. Well, get your predictions in the comment section of this video. Put them on Twitter. Just tag us in UTCIAD, AFCB. You know, put in your predictions and get involved in that as well. And that will all be on Twitter. So the final bit is the Who Am I? So who wants to go for this?
Yeah, so I've found a player. So he started out in the Bournemouth youth.
Mm-hmm.
He went on to play 56 appearances between the years of 1995 to 1999. He had his best spells at Haverton and Waterlooville and Eastleigh, and played at 9 clubs over his career.
Interesting one. It's not as bloody hard as Mr. Rawlins, I'm sure. Somebody out there will have the answer. So please do ping it in the comments as well. And you can win the prize of personal pride. So there you go. No, we might get you a little trophy or something. You know, we like that here. But yeah, that rounds up another cherry picking. So
Before we go,
go on then.
Can we just make sure everyone's aware that that's not a Saints shirt behind Sam's head?
Yeah, that's a good shout. Shall we zoom in on Sam and then we can have a little look? There we are. Is that a Saints shirt?
It is definitely not a Saints shirt. It's the Centenary shirt, which is now 22 years old, signed by the players at the time.
Mm-hmm. So it is. So it is.
Look
at that.
Yeah, that's
a nice one, isn't it?
See Sean O'Driscoll's signature on there, actually. Big Fletch. Yeah, that was actually signed by the 1999-2000 squad.
Yeah.
Something that we got our dad for Christmas or birthday one year. We did it for him and had it all framed and that. So, yeah, lovely piece. But just in case someone thought there's a Cherries fan sat in front of a Scammers shirt. So,
well, of course, we are on the way to Liverpool, aren't we, this weekend? Yep. So we are going to be looking forward to that. We will do, and I know somebody did ask this question, why don't we do videos from the games? Do we go to the games? Yes, we do go to the games. The fact why we don't make videos whilst we're at the games is because we're watching the game. And, you know, that's the view. That's the view that we've got here. But we will do some little videos beforehand of the Liverpool ground and maybe a team, you know, when the teams are announced. But once the game starts, I'm not going to film myself. And I'm sure these guys don't want me to film myself watching the game as well. So, yes, do check out our video, which will be going up live on Sunday from Liverpool. And we'll have some reaction and all that on the way back because Liverpool's not just round the corner, is it?
No, it's what you call a jolly boys outing. I think Saturday.
It is, yes, yeah. It's gonna be good fun. But until next week, up the cherries, and we'll see you at the next cherry picking.